Hi, AP Psychology students, and welcome back. Today we are ending our social psych unit with a topic called prosocial behavior. So this still aligns with topic 4.3, the psychology of social situations, but we are focusing on explaining how prosocial behavior affects behavior and mental processes. So the two essential questions we're going to answer today are what leads to prosocial behavior and what factors influence whether someone is likely to receive help when it is needed. So when we talk about prosocial behavior, really what we're asking is why do we help others, right? Prosocial behavior is behavior that is, helpful, encouraging, positive, right, to other human beings. So, and this can look more formal or informal. So for example, like why do we stop and help somebody who's having car trouble, which is like very informal, like we see somebody needing help, etc., or not help, we don't stop. Or more formal, like why do we do volunteer work or donate objects or give of our time in a more organized way. So the first idea is that it's based in either altruism or social exchange. The second is the social norms that our society has. And the third is situational factors that influence our helping behavior. So when we're talking about altruism, the idea is, do we help others because we just have an unselfish regard for the welfare of others? In other words, we help people just to help them, right? Like we volunteer just to be able to give to people and there's nothing we get in return for it. Or are we helping because of this idea of what's called the social exchange theory? So this idea is basically that our behavior is an exchange process. And ultimately, we want to maximize benefits and reduce cost. So we feel like something like maybe a beach cleanup, right? Like there's a lot of benefits to that. Like we get to enjoy a clean beach. The cost is minimal. We don't have danger or risk to ourselves, and we can give of our time, right? And as the cost increases, right, are we less likely to then help? Right? So it's not that there is an answer, but both altruism and social exchange theory probably play a role in our helping behavior. The next factor that can impact our helping behavior is societal norms. So there's two major norms that psychologists think influence helping behavior within the United States. So the first one is this reciprocity norm. So this would be that the idea is that when somebody does something good for you or helpful to you, you are going to then try to help them, right? And a really kind of like simplistic example of this is tipping, right? So you get really good service, you're likely to leave a tip, right? And if you leave a tip, the waiter is then likely to give you really good service the next time, right? So this is ideas like you help somebody who's helped you. The other norm is this idea that people are supposed to help people who need your help. So there's this like sense of responsibility for helping others who need it. An example of this would be like during like a hurricane relief or fire relief or any kind of natural disaster or war or any kind of event where there are real need demonstrated, right? People kind of jump to donate, right, and to get involved. One of the things I was reading about was talking about like when the Ukraine war started, like all the people who bought Airbnbs in Ukraine, like a night to stay, even though they weren't going to stay, as a way to support, right? So you feel this sense, this responsibility to help. Now the question here is, how do we determine the idea of need, right? Like how do we decide if someone does or doesn't need our help, right? And that is more impacted by the situational factors. So situational impacts give us an idea of the need of others based on our interpretation of the situation. The first thing that's really important when it comes to the situation is the presence of others. So this is the idea that if there are people around, like a large group or a crowd, other bystanders, each individual person is less likely to help, right? And why is that? Well, this is the diffusion of responsibility. Everybody thinks somebody else will do it, right? Somebody else will help, somebody else will take care of it. It's not my responsibility, that kind of thing. And everybody's probably thinking, I wonder if that person is okay, but then they always assume somebody else will do something. This is why when you get trained to be like CPR certified or whatever, they tell you to not just like yell into the crowd, like call 911, but you're supposed to point at somebody, and if you can, like say them by name, call 911, because then they feel responsible as opposed to just a general message and then no one does anything. Another situational impact is the appearance of the person who needs help, right? So are they similar or different than us, right? If they are more similar to us, we're more likely to help. Also, are they attractive? So there is this phenomenon in psychology called the halo effect, where when we have a positive impression of someone, in this case they are attractive, we then assume other good things about them. They're friendly, they're smart, they must really need the help, they would never, do this on their own, it's not their fault, etc. Continuing with situational impacts, we've got the gender. So is the person male or female that needs our help, and is the helper a male or a female, right? And the dynamics of gender and gender roles and gender expectations can influence the helping behavior. Age, right? So are they really, really old and there's like this expectation to help the elderly? Are they really, really young, like a child, right? Do you see them as strong or weak? Time, right? Are you in a hurry, or are you trying to get somewhere, right? Or do you feel like you have the time available to help? Location matters, so they find that people are more likely to help in like a rural area or a small town versus a city. And the mood of the helper. So if you are in a good mood, they find that you are more likely to stop and give somebody else help. So today we focused on the different factors that lead to prosocial behavior. This includes altruism, social exchange, norms, and situational impacts, and the bystander effect. So make sure you can answer these essential questions. That's all for now. AP Psychos. And remember, psychology is flippin' awesome.